I'm Sabrina Mathis. I'm going to be presenting my project on photography, what I've learned from the book that I've been reading called Photography in an Essential Way. First, we're going to talk about what the heck a sensor is. Sensors are like the middle piece of the camera, and it's all like electronic, and when the light goes in and touches the sensor, it turns it into a picture. And this is the exposure triangle. Every picture you take is going to have an exposure on it, and an exposure consists of an ISO, a shutter speed, and an aperture. The aperture is the size of the lens opening, and the size of an aperture is indicated by its f-stop number, and aperture also controls the brightness of light that reaches the sensor. And that's actually how the aperture opens, and how the f and the 2 are right there. That's like the f-stop number, so it's like number 2. And as they get bigger, as the f-stop number gets bigger, the smaller the less light that's let in, and the smaller the shutter gets. And the f-stop number, the size of an aperture is indicated by its f-stop. And the smaller the f-stop, the larger the aperture, and the more light that's let in. And the bigger the number, the smaller the opening, and the less light gets let in. And then that shows like f-stop 2.8, it's all open, lets in a lot of light, compared to f-stop 22, there's hardly any light in there at all. And the shutter speed. The longer the shutter's open, the more light gets in and reaches the sensor. And how long the sensor is exposed to light, it lets you know how long the sensor is going to be exposed. Okay, the shutter speed is how long the shutter's open, and it lets more light hit the sensor. And it's how long the sensor is exposed to light. So here's a few examples of shutter speed. Like a slow shutter speed would be, so you can see all the movement, like where the balls were going and stuff. That's a slow shutter speed. And this is like an example of the far one over there is really slow. You can't see any real movement. It's just all kind of blurry. And in the middle, you can kind of see what's going on. You can tell what's happening, but you can't really get it really in good focus. And then the far one is a very fast shutter speed, and you can tell everything that's happening.
Oh yeah, it's magnetic. Oh,
I didn't know. And the depth of field. This is the hardest thing to
Mrs. Tuck, are you
figure out. Okay, the depth of field is the amount of distance between the nearest and farthest objects that appear sharp in a photograph. So, and you can't really tell on this, but the shoe part, like all of this is in focus, but down here, this is all blurry, and you can't see her shoelaces or her jeans because it's all, that would be a small depth of field because this is like the nearest point in it all, and it's just really in focus, but everything else is not in focus at all. And this would be pretty much in between a small depth of field and a large one, because all of you have the branches right there, and they're not in focus really, but a few of them are when you get further out there. But the background's in focus, and that just makes it in between being really not in focus at all and really in focus, like this one. This one would be a large depth of field because everything in the picture is in focus and you can see everything. Okay, the ISO is how sensitive the sensor is to light that is let into the camera, like how much light is let in between the shutter speed and the aperture. And the higher the ISO, the more sensitive the sensor. So like the higher you have on your SIO number, the more your picture is going to be exposed, the brighter it will be. And